Hello and welcome back to another review of another AI content detector. And in this one, we're talking about Winston AI, which is one of the ones I heard a lot about, just the web in general. But let's actually go through and see, does it hold up? Is the content detection accurate, more accurate or less accurate than the ones we've done before? And do the other bells and whistles around Winston AI make it a good choice for anyone who wants to test whether a work of fiction or nonfiction is AI or not? So let's dive in. First of all, let's talk a little bit about the pricing. They clearly want you to be on their annual plan because the annual plan is significantly cheaper per month, when you average it out than as compared to the monthly. There is a free one that gives you 2,000 credits, and that's essentially 2,000 words. So it's not a whole lot. Like, you can't really test anything with that. So I, for the sake of this video, upgraded to the essential plan, but I didn't want to pay a whole year because that would be $120. So instead I went to the monthly, and even the monthly is $18 a month. So you're saving almost half by going to the annual. And personally, I don't like this because these numbers are some of the highest that we've seen so far in the ones that I've checked out, especially if you go monthly. If you go annual, it's not too bad, but that just locks you in. And one of the things I liked about one of the others that we looked at, which was Originality.ai, that one has an a la carte option. So you only use it when you use it. And so you could go months without using it and then come back and you still have all your credits and stuff. And it's a little more expensive a la carte like that, but I think in the long run, I'm usually saving money unless you are frequently using these kind of tools. I don't like the monthly subscription. I don't think you need a monthly subscription. So when it comes to pricing, I am not very happy about this one, especially if you get into the more advanced ones. Like, for instance, you don't have plagiarism on this essential plan. So if you want plagiarism checking, you need at least the $29 a month plan, which to me is starting to get far more pricey than this kind of tool needs to be, especially compared to other tools. But that's me. Let's go and look at the actual tool itself and see if it has anything worth that kind of a price. So when you get in to the tool, you can come here to where it says new scan, and you'll see a dashboard like this one. And from here, you can paste in your text. So the text here is 100% AI written text that I have here in this test. So I even called it pure AI test right here. And on here on the left, you can select from a variety of different scans that they have for you. Of course, there's the AI detector, which is 1 credit per word. This document is 2410 words. So that will use 2,410 credits for just the AI detector. They also have a fact checker. That's another 1 credit per word. And a writing feedback, which is also 1 credit per word. So if I used all 3 of these, that would be 3 credits per word, which is quite a lot. You can tell I used up about 20,000 credits just with the tests that I already ran for this thing.
Give me 10 seconds. If you want help cranking out way more books with AI, join the Story Hacker AI waitlist below. While the group's closed, I'll send you my full prompt pack for free. Click the link, enter your email, and I'll shoot it over.
And I was just using the AI detector, not the fact checker and the writing feedback. And additionally, if you have one of the higher tiers and you want to use plagiarism, the plagiarism checker, that's 2 credits per word. So there's potential to get up to 5 credits per word, which I find to be a huge drain, which is once again goes to the whole pricing issue of this thing. I think it is overpriced and these credits are easy to use up. But anyway, let's just try these. I'll unclick fact checker because this is a piece of fiction, so we don't need a fact check for it. But if we go ahead and scan, it gives us this thing here. So it gives me a probability that 41% of this, or the text is 41% human, it says, which is not true. This is 100% AI, so this should be 0% human. So it didn't do great on that front. And it said the readability score is actually pretty good. So that's kind of nice. And I wonder, because this text was generated using Gemini 3, which tends to be good at mimicking certain styles. So when I gave to create this text, I gave it a bunch of my own style information and samples of my work. I think Google Gemini 3 is pretty good at mimicking styles. And so I wonder if that's why it has this pretty high human percentage here, given the fact that there was no human text here. And the readability score is also pretty good. Now, if we go to we didn't do fact checker, but from writing feedback, it actually gives us some interesting things that we could replace here, like replace dirt packed under my fingernails, cool and gritty, kneeling in the loam felt right, far better than the stiff wooden chair back at the cottage, with cool gritty dirt packed beneath my fingernails as I knelt in the rich loam, a far more fitting seat than the cottage's stiff wooden chair. I find it funny that there's an M dash here. These auto suggestions are clearly also created with AI, but it's not actually a bad recommendation, I think. No, and there's quite a few of these. So no grammar issues because this was AI written, so there's not going to be really any major grammar or spelling issues, just areas where we might want to paraphrase or provide clarity. Like the dialogue here is charming and effectively establishes Elaine's character and her connection to nature. It also subtly foreshadows her later emotional reaction to the bluebell. This is definitely AI suggestions here. It's not necessarily a bad thing. I just find it ironic. All right, so that's what we do. You can already tell we used up quite a few of my credits just running that. We used about 5,000, a little over 5,000 credits to run the AI detector and the writing feedback together. It would be even more if I had added fact checker or plagiarism. Can't do plagiarism right now because I'm not on that higher plan. But in general, these kind of features, we've seen them on other AI detectors. I don't think there's really anything particularly better about this one than the others. There is one feature that I thought was pretty cool. There's this one called text compare, where you can put your text in, put one version of your text here, put a second version of the text here and compare it, and it'll show you where it's made changes. I actually think that's a really useful thing. If you're using, say, an AI humanizer and you want to compare and contrast and actually see what changes were made, that could be a really useful feature here. Not necessarily something that I would use a whole subscription for this, and it does use more credits. In this case, the comparison costs 1/4 of a credit per word. It's not clear on whether that's for, that probably is for both. So if you have 2,000 words here and 2,000 words here, it'll take 1/4 of a credit for each. So that'd be 1,000 credits total. So a little bit less than a full scan, but still using up quite a few of your credits. So I imagine there's other text comparison tools out there that just do text comparison that are probably a lot cheaper. But regardless, they have that. They have a grammar checker here. They have a number of integrations, like a Chrome extension and stuff like that, which can be useful in certain circumstances. But on the whole, oh, and they also have image scans to detect if an image was AI generated, which I haven't tested, but it's also not something I really am interested in, but could be useful if that's something you want to check. I also imagine this is probably something that's very difficult to figure out in certain use cases, especially if you've only used AI to like subtly modify an image, like using Google's Nano Banana or something like that. That would probably be a little bit difficult, but we'll see. Anyway, that is the general overview of how this is used. It's pretty simple. And again, I think it's pretty basic for the pricing. Other tools have similar features for a little bit lower pricing or even have more features. And I also don't get a sense of a particular audience that they're trying to cater to. In the two that I've gone over so far, there's Originality.ai and GPTZero that I've reviewed so far. And they clearly had different audiences that they were catering to. That made it more useful for that audience. Originality.ai was more for content creators of SEO articles and stuff like that. And GPTZero was more for teachers and educators and people in that camp. This one, I don't really see any particular, like it doesn't seem to be catering to any particular one. So that's just something to keep in mind there. But let's actually go through the results of my tests that I put together. For the pure AI fiction, where I would have expected 100% because it was pure AI, it gave me a 59% AI. which is a little bit lower than GPT-Zero and Originality.ai, which makes it, of the three, it's only a little bit lower, but this is still the least accurate of the three. For a pure AI nonfiction thing, Eric gave me 97. Oh, where this I would also expect 100%, and all three of these have done pretty well so far. But Originality was the most correct here because it was 100%. For heavily edited AI, so this is a piece of AI fiction that I have that has been edited heavily by both myself and a line editor. So we know that I would expect it to be a little bit more like the results we were getting here from the pure AI, but it's actually been ranking higher for whatever reason. Maybe it's just the model I used or something like that, because I believe the model I used here was Gemini 3 and the model I used here was Claude, one of the Claude models. And it put this at 96%, where I would have expected a little bit lower than that. The GPT-Zero here is closer to what I would have thought it would be. The next test I did was a piece of entirely human written fiction, so no AI involved. And it gave me a 1% chance of AI. And that's pretty close. It's slightly less accurate than these two, which correctly assumed it was 0. But close enough that it doesn't really matter. And then we get the human written nonfiction. So this is a piece of nonfiction that I wrote way back when I was at Kindlepreneur. So I know it's not AI. And it, like the other tools here, has incorrectly guessed that it was heavily written with AI. In this case, it gave it a 96%. And it is not. It is, we would expect 0. So far, the only one that's gotten a little bit more accurate on this one was GPT-Zero, which gave it a 53%, but even that's still pretty inaccurate. And both of these others have been pretty inaccurate overall. Then I gave it some Sherlock Holmes text, and it correctly guessed that it was mostly human, and some from the Bible, which it also correctly guessed that it was mostly human. Only a 1% and a 2% on these, although that is higher slightly, just slightly, than what the other two gave us. So perhaps slightly, like if we're looking at these results, they're very similar, but I would actually say that that Winston AI has been slightly worse, just slightly, than the other two that we've covered so far on this channel. So my notes is I do like the text compare feature, the grammar checker, plagiarism, fact checker, and writing feedback tools are all great. This is the worst one I've found for pricing so far, and it's a slightly less accurate detector. And that pretty much sums up my thoughts on this AI detector today. So if you're interested in more of these, I'm going to put out more reviews for the big ones that people talk about. So we'll have a couple more videos on that. If that's interesting, be sure to subscribe, of course. And I'll see you in the next video.